right on my 60th. Don't get me wrong. It was just kind of this thing that like the following year. Now my 52nd birthday coming up. I have no idea what we're going to do for my birthday, and it's not that I need a huge party. It's just that the year after a huge party, it did feel kind of a letdown that I didn't then have another huge party. I'll admit that. Herod, after having given this oath to give her whatever she wanted, he was stuck. When she demanded the head of John the Baptist on a platter, he was deeply distressed because it was a gruesome request. But he just made this oath in front of his dinner guests. He had to follow through with it. So he gave it to her. John's head brought to her on a platter, gave it to her mother. She gave it to her mother, fulfilling this deadly grudge that she had because he kept pointing out the fact she was living in sin with her new husband. I'm assuming that her husband, which one was it? Philip? Is that what it said his name was? I'm assuming he was still alive. He had to have been still alive, right? Because it wouldn't have been a problem for Herod to have married his dead brother's widow. It was that he took the brother's wife after they apparently had split and took her for himself. So then they go to inform Jesus. After the disciples lovingly retrieve, bury his body, we see the same series of events happening when Jesus is crucified. But John's death here, his martyrdom, that's a word, isn't it? It stands as a sobering testimony to what it costs to speak truth, to speak kingdom truth especially, foreshadowing some of the opposition the kingdom of heaven will face. But it didn't even really slow down Jesus' ministry. It just shines brighter. We are called to risk that. But now I'm going to read the next, I think it's 10 verses, whatever. Jesus feeding the 5,000, but I want to jump back. As soon as we're done reading, I'm going to read the whole thing, but when I'm done, I want to jump back to the first two verses. The first two verses. When Jesus heard, this is verse 13. When Jesus heard what had happened, he withdrew by boat privately to a solitary place. Hearing this, the crowds followed him on foot from the towns. When Jesus landed, he saw a large crowd. He had compassion on them and healed their sick. As evening approached, the disciples came to him, saying, "This is a remote place. It's already getting late. Send the crowds away so they can go to the villages and buy themselves food." And Jesus replied, "They don't need to go. You give them something to eat." No, do we have enough? Can we give them something? We should feed them, right? Nope, he just said, you give them something to eat. He knew. They answered, "We only have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes." Jesus then said, "Bring them here to me." And he directed the people to sit down on the grass. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, looking up to heaven, he gave thanks. Breaking the loaves, he gave them to the disciples to give out to the people. They gave them to the people, and they all ate and were satisfied. And the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces from what was left over. The number of those who ate was about 5,000 men, not to mention women and children. So probably 10,000 people. Would not be an off number there. You know, most of the men would have had at least their wife and probably some of them one kid. So the likelihood is there was close to 10,000 people there. But I want to jump back to verse 13 and 14. When Jesus heard what had happened, he withdrew by boat privately to a solitary place. Hearing of this, the crowds followed him. When he got off the boat, seeing that this large crowd had followed him, so first of all, he withdrew upon hearing about his cousin's death, probably to mourn the death of that cousin, even though he knows that that cousin will be with him again in paradise, even though he knows that cousin will be with him again, be a part of new creation, that the likelihood is that John the Baptist is revered in the heavenlies, having lived the way he did, served the way he did, and announced the arrival of the Messiah. Despite his personal sorrow and desire to be alone, and I want you to think about this, because when my mom died, I felt sorrow, and then I felt guilt. I shouldn't be feeling sorrow. She's with God now. It was something that I went through a little bit. I imagine a lot of people do. I wanted to be happy for her. She got to go on, and I know she wanted to. But it was hard to be happy for her because I miss her. Found sitting in the one room this morning a bag. It says Nanny's church bag. My niece Kimberly got it for my mom a couple years ago. A couple years before she died. I put my stuff in it and I took it to the office today. And while I'm at the office today, it's sitting there and I'm doing the video earlier and I'm doing some stuff I have to do at the office, and it's sitting there and I just kept looking at it. I'm living in her house. On the wall behind me, you see a sign that says, can you see it? Oh, I'm going to have to turn the camera a little bit for you to see it. This sign right here, a little bit more. This is my happy place. Over there's one that says, plant seeds of happiness, kindness, and love. Up there's one that says, a house is built with boards and beams, but a home is built with love and dreams. I'm not a big, I guess I can leave that. I mean, I'm not a big, at least I didn't used to be a big softie, I guess. But I think since my dad died in 2018, and then even more so as the years continue, my transformation into, I hope, a better kingdom citizen, the loss of my father, the loss of my mother, amongst other things, has created in me a situation where I am kind of a big softie now, where it doesn't take much for me to get a little emotional and choked up. My daughter graduating Friday night. Well, we were at Teddy's graduation Friday night, and he had some plans after the graduation with some friends, and the plans kind of fell through as we're getting ready to go into the graduation ceremony, and I got a little upset. You know, things happen. These things happen, of course. But I got a little worked up about it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take them out to Pizza Hut. It's not money we have to spend, but I'm going to take them out. I told my daughter I'd take them out. I said, I want to take you out to eat. You want to go to Chinese? Because she went to, and I'm so proud of her, she decided to make it all about Teddy. She went to his graduation. It was not anything that anybody ever pressured her to do. It was not anything that he expected her to do. It was what she decided to do. As a matter of fact, I think he kind of pushed back a little bit on it. Don't you want to, go walk across the stage yourself? And she said, no, I'd rather be there for you because I love you. I'm going to spend the rest of my life with you. And I want to live that. And listen, I'd have been happy to split my wife and I up and go to two different graduations. I'd have been, she could have went to Teddy's and I could have went to Nokoma's, or she could have went to Nokoma's so that she could see our daughter graduate. I would have missed her graduating and went and seen Teddy. Instead, my daughter decided to pick up her diploma. She's actually, they're out doing that pretty much right now. I was just proud of her. On Saturday, she's playing with the kids, and then Friday night she came to me. She had an issue she wanted to talk about, and she says, Dad, I know you just took us out to this great dinner, and I really appreciate it and all, I need to talk to you though. And then she told me about the problem she had, and she was right. I'm not even going to get into the details of the problem, but she was right. She had a problem. She came to me. She was right. First, she talked to my sister, which kind of makes me smile. My sister told her, "No, just you're right. I think you might have a point. You should go talk to your dad. Whatever." So she did. Friday night after we went to this great dinner, she comes and she says, "I want to talk to you." And I'm like, "Okay, honey." She tells me her problem. I said, "No, you got a point. Let's figure out a plan going forward to fix it." And I got a little choked up because I've been able to watch 6 of them now grow into amazing people, even the ones who are struggling right now. God has blessed me with the ability to watch all of my children, except one. And that was partially my fault, partially my wife's fault, that I didn't get a chance to watch LaFall grow up. But I got to watch my daughter, Lynanne, grow into a beautiful young woman with 4 children who has a great life, a good husband. Tyler, CJ, Bobby, I see them struggling, but they are good men. They just sometimes forget. And I pray every day that God will remind them. And I've been able to watch Nakoma. I've been able to watch a few slightly adopted kids, Bridget, Nick. Sue and I adopted a young man. He was an adult when we kind of adopted him into the family, but needed a little help, and he was a huge help to us, and we tried to help him, and it is a lovely relationship. I don't get to see him enough, so if you're watching this, Nick, you need to stop by the house. But Sue talks to him pretty much almost every day, I think. I've been able to watch that. My daughter was asking me last night, she said, "Dad," she says, "Father's Day is coming up, and I know Teddy's going to want to do something with his dad for Father's Day, and I really want to do something with you for Father's Day, but what would you like? And are you okay if we do something with you and his dad, or you?" And I looked at her and said, "Honey," I said, "I'm okay with whatever you decide to do for Father's Day. A little bit, a lot, nothing. I am blessed to be able to watch these children, young people now. None of them are children anymore. Even my niece Gracie's an adult now. I mean, come on. Jack's grown. I mean, all the kids are grown. Now we're watching grandkids grow up, and praise God, I get to watch the grandkids grow up. I love it." But I told her, I said, it doesn't matter what you do. I'm going to love whatever it is you do. Because every day, for me, I celebrate my part of raising you each day. But anyway, I kind of went off there. But when Jesus heard of his cousin dying, he went to mourn. And he gets off the boat. And he's on his way to go somewhere private, mourn. He gets off the boat and he sees these people had gathered, ignoring his wanting to be alone. And he has compassion on them. It's the same as in, John, I want to say like 13 maybe. We'll talk more about it, I'm sure, when we get to it. But in John, no, it's earlier than 13, I guess. Here we go. It's in John 11, verse 38 through 44 is the accounting of Lazarus. And when Mary told Jesus that Lazarus was dead, she said, "If you had been here, he wouldn't have died." and she was weeping, as were the people that came along with her. They were in spirit, moved in spirit. He was deeply moved in spirit and troubled. Where have you laid him? He asked. This is verse 34. Come and see, Lord, they told him. And Jesus wept. I was talking about that earlier because oftentimes we are back. We had some serious difficulties, so I went back and checked. That's why it took a little while. Went back and checked to see how bad it was, because I thought maybe the recording isn't too bad. I could bring it up, and that way I can just kind of leave or start back up where it left off. And yeah, that's not going to work because it didn't really leave off. Just about 10 minutes into the video, it started chirping out and going crazy. And that means I basically have to start all over again. So we're going to read, we're going to pray as we do at the beginning of videos. And I know if you're watching live, if you've come back on to watch live, you're going, oh, you already did that. But quite frankly, I'm going to restart the recording, and we are starting from scratch. So we're going to start, wrong mouse. We're going to start by praying. We're going to start by welcoming everybody on the recording. So if you aren't watching, if you didn't get a chance to watch live, and you're watching on the recorded video, we had some serious issues the first time around, and the video didn't. It was all messed up in the recording, and it's all chirping up again. So I cannot guarantee that we're going to be able to do a live. It might have to be just recorded because